Waiting is one of the hardest things faith will ever ask of a human heart. Not the waiting that comes with excitement, but the waiting that comes with pain. The waiting that feels heavy. The waiting where days turn into months and months turn into years. The waiting where prayers are sincere, tears are real, and answers seem delayed. Many people believe in God, but struggle when God asks them to wait. Because waiting feels like silence. Waiting feels like nothing is happening. Waiting feels like being forgotten. But what the Bible shows us again and again is this truth. Waiting on God is never wasted time. There were servants of God who waited when everything inside them wanted to move. They waited when logic told them to quit. They waited when their strength was gone. And in that waiting, God was doing something deeper than they could see. Waiting is not punishment. Waiting is preparation. God's silence does not mean God's absence. It means God is working in ways that cannot yet be seen. There were moments when faithful people cried out and heaven felt quiet. Not because God didn't care, but because God was shaping endurance, trust, and obedience inside them. Waiting teaches the heart to rely on God instead of outcomes. There was a man in the Bible who received a promise that looked impossible. Time passed. Circumstances grew worse. The promise seemed delayed beyond reason. But during that waiting, God was strengthening faith, removing pride, and aligning the future. When the promise finally came, it was clear that only God could have done it. Waiting reveals whether we trust God only for blessings or trust Him for who He is. Some blessings are delayed because if they arrived early, they would destroy us instead of help us. Some answers are slow because character must grow before capacity. God cares more about who you are becoming than how quickly your prayer is answered. Waiting is where faith matures. In the waiting, God teaches patience. In the waiting, God teaches humility. In the waiting, God teaches surrender. There were prophets who waited through rejection, servants of God who waited through injustice, believers who waited through loneliness and loss. They were not forgotten. They were being refined. The Bible does not hide the pain of waiting. It shows us real struggles, real tears, and real faith that chose to trust anyway. Waiting does not mean doing nothing. It means trusting while obeying. It means praying while persevering. It means believing even when feelings say otherwise. Faith during waiting is quiet strength. There were moments when God's people stood at the edge of impossibility. No visible way forward, no human solution. Yet they were told to wait. And in that waiting, God moved at the right moment, in the right way, with perfect timing. God is never late. He is never early. He is always right on time. What feels like delay to us is often protection from what we cannot see. Waiting keeps us close to God's heart. It teaches us to listen instead of rush, to trust instead of control. When we rush ahead of God, we step outside His peace. When we wait on God, we walk inside His will. There were moments when even those closest to Jesus did not understand what God was doing. They saw the struggle but could not see the purpose yet. They felt fear while God was planning victory. God's greatest works often begin in silence. Just like seeds grow underground, faith grows in hidden seasons. No one applauds waiting. No one celebrates patience. But heaven honors it. Waiting changes us before it changes our situation. If you are waiting right now, God sees you. If you are tired of praying the same prayer, God hears you. If you feel overlooked, God has not forgotten you. Waiting is not God saying no. It is often God saying, "Trust me." There are lessons learned in waiting that cannot be learned any other way. Strength is built there. Wisdom is formed there. Faith is deepened there. BBQ exists to remind hearts of this truth. God is faithful, even in the wait. Your waiting season has meaning. You may not understand why the answer has not come yet. But one day, you will look back and see that God was protecting you, preparing you, and positioning you. What feels empty right now is actually full of purpose. God uses waiting to align hearts with His will. If God answered every prayer instantly, faith would never grow. If life moved without pause, trust would never deepen. Waiting teaches us to lean on God instead of leaning on outcomes. There were moments when God's people waited at night, unsure if morning would come. But morning always came. God's promises do not expire. They do not weaken with time. They do not fail because of delay. What God has spoken, He will fulfill. Waiting builds a faith that cannot be shaken by circumstances. So if you are waiting, do not give up. Do not lose heart. Do not assume silence means abandonment. God is working behind the scenes, aligning details you cannot see, preparing blessings you cannot yet imagine. Trust Him in the waiting. Obey Him in the waiting. Hope in Him in the waiting. This season will not last forever, but the faith you are building will. Let your heart rest in God's timing. Let your soul trust His wisdom. Let your spirit hold on to hope. God is faithful. He is present. He is working. Wait on Him, not with fear, but with trust. Not with despair, but with hope. The wait will be worth it.